I got a phone call at 8:30 in the morning, and it was this woman, Paula, calling from the North Shore Cancer Center. I hung up the phone, and I looked at Robert, and I said, I have cancer.
So I want to jump a little bit, because I could talk to you forever.
I know.
What makes you, after all these years, because it's over a decade now that you've been doing this.
Yeah, I was diagnosed in 2000. Pop smear first concert was 2002. And then I did a few national tours with the Yellow Umbrella Tour. And then We Did Say Something. And then Paint It Yellow is my school program. So it's like from taking the message, and the music from rock clubs into the schools once the vaccine was introduced and it offered a whole new audience, to be in non-traditional settings and deliver the message to people who aren't expecting it.
You've also spoken internationally as well.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean? There's the thing about this cancer, I mean, we're us and we're here, but I mean, boy, people need to be using the tools everywhere, and the vaccine in other countries, and screening for women, no matter what your culture, no matter what your race, or no matter what your socioeconomic status. It is important for me to go to Istanbul and speak, you know what I mean? It is important, for you to go, like, everywhere, because we represent every woman. It's like we are someone's daughter. We are someone's best friend, someone's wife, someone's neighbor. And so after all these years, as it's gone on, and now there are more of us, thank goodness. You know what I mean? It's like we're not the only ones, and people are being braver. And it's like, I'm going to do this until the day I die. I really look forward to the day when no woman will have to suffer unnecessarily, when no one will lose their life to this disease, when no family member will have to stand by and watch another one suffer. This is my life. This is not a marketing campaign. This is, it happens to be, it works to get the word out, like our stories, but this is our lives.
It is, and I want to ask you that. So, when I got married, I was just like, okay, advocacy work is my baby, because I don't have a physical baby, but I was like, I want to enjoy being a bride. I never thought I was going to find someone to love me, broken me, who couldn't have any children. And then when it happened, I was just like, I'm going to be that bride. I'm going to go all the way out, have my fairy tale wedding, which I did.
You totally did. and watching you through that process, and even though I couldn't be there on that day, like hearing you, I remember when you called me and you were like, Baze, I'm dating this guy, Rocky. I used to hang with him, he was great, and then I dumped him, and then I got back together with him, and now I'm in love, and I'm like, oh my God, and he's got this kid, and I'm like, he's got the family. You did it, and that warms my heart.
It's beautiful, but it was the one time that I think I was selfish to myself. And I was just like, okay, after January, after National Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, I'm not doing anything. I am just going to be a bride and enjoy this process. But, I jumped right back into advocacy. So what I want to talk to you about is, have you ever had advocacy burnout? And what keeps you going? What motivates you to not stop? Because, someone would say, okay, you've done
been there,
great,
done that.
Live your life.
Go on,
but
move forward.
You just said it. This is our life.
This is what survivor's guilt, I think, is something that is also out there.
Definitely.
And affects, my choices and why I've chosen to do this and how I do continue to go on. It's for people that we have met on our path that are no longer with us. I've not heard the term advocacy burnout, but that's a good one, actually, because, passion drives us.
It drains us, too.
Absolutely. And if I don't stop and talk to my therapist, if I don't get enough sleep, if I get run down and then I start to get not as effective in what I do, and the various levels of support for what I've done over the years. You know, it's like I started with no money, you know what I mean, just me doing a concert in my backyard, but then people donated into my vagina bucket. And some companies came on and said, hey, let's help her out and let's help her spread the message on a large level. And then, like, sometimes funding's there, sometimes grants are there, sometimes there's nothing. And it's like...
But you just keep chugging along.
The tenacity, it's like why we do what we do. It's like, I do this because I care about this on the very core of my human being.
I think I get frustrated when I feel like we have everything. We have all the tools, but it's not moving fast enough. Because it is moving, but sometimes it seems like it's not moving, and people don't get it, and you kind of want to shake them.
Oh, I want to bang my head.
Make them understand. And then I'm like, why do I put myself through this? Because it's an emotional roller coaster.
Every time, right? Every time you tell your story, like, I've stopped crying every time, but I swear for the first, like, couple hundred speaking gigs, like, I literally would come back to my hotel room, and I would have to cry. And I would have to call my therapist or a friend or something, just because it is reliving, you know, like the hardest thing that's ever happened to me. You know what I mean? It's like that's...
So some people believe that, and I won't say cancer is a gift, but there was some gift that came out of their cancer experience. What was that gift for you? What were, you know, once you're on the other side and you're like, I've beaten this thing, I've survived it, what's been your gift?
For me, you know, playing the piano, singing songs, writing songs, that's like what made me tick. That was me, my passion, and I didn't feel it. I would sit down and I'd try to play and I would just cry because I felt like I lost everything that I had worked so hard for. This identity that I had for myself as a musician was no longer there, and it was terrible for me. Until I watched this movie, Harold and Maude.
Trouble, trouble, move away. I have seen your face, and it's too much for me today.
I heard that song, and I was like, that's my song. And it's time for me to play my song. I started figuring out the chords, you know, and I was thinking of the lyrics, and I started singing, and I started playing, and I started crying. And this time it was totally different. It was this amazing cathartic cry. It was the light turning back on inside of me. That's when I decided that I needed to do something, and I needed to give back because I was grateful to be alive.
For me, cancer actually truly allowed me to figure out who I really am. You know, as much as I was comfortable in my life, in my skin before cancer, and I would love to have never, ever have had cancer. I feel like recognizing that I actually am a warrior, you know, like that I am strong and brave, and that maybe by telling my story, if one person has gone in for a screening, if one person gets vaccinated as a result of hearing my story and one life is changed, like that's the gift. That there's really a true connection between person to person, you know, and if I can stand up and talk about my fried vagina and it'll save someone else's fertility because I don't have that, you know, then that's a gift to feel like you matter. You know what I mean? And where, you know, things change in so many ways, and through it all, really cancer is the thing that tells me that I can get through anything.
My mission is to eliminate cervical cancer. I mean, that's it. My mission is to be part of eliminating cancer. Tell me why. Tell me why.
We were talking earlier how we both have I don't have 20/20 vision anymore. I think the doctor said 20/40 or something like that. And I have these new glasses, and we're not even going to talk about your glasses. I tried them on, and I know it's the path that I'm headed towards, but I'm not ready.
She almost passed out from the dizziness from my bifocals.
but one of the things that I think about sometimes, my life beyond, not just after, but beyond my cancer, is kind of like going to the eye doctor. Some things that you thought were clear before cancer, and then the doctor changes the focal point and like, read it now, what do you see? And like, oh, I think it says that, and then he switches it,
and
you're
then
like,
all of a sudden you're more in focus.
Exactly.
It becomes so clear.
And I think the surprising gift that I got beyond my cancer was clarity on many levels of my life, whether it was family, friends, or just what I wanted, work.
How you want to be in this world.
Exactly. And, a lot of times people ask me, when were you past it? When were you over it? and that's why I don't say my life
I got over
after
it last
cancer.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't say my life after cancer because I'm still experiencing my life after cancer. So this is my life beyond my cancer. So I've moved beyond my cancer.
I like that.
But I'm still going.
I'm gonna steal that.
You should go for it. But I'm still going through it because cancer is the gift that keeps on giving. We had radiation and chemotherapy at very young ages, and so we have to deal with secondary issues. We have to deal with bone loss, neuropathy in your feet,
atrophied vagina, and radiation enteritis, and
And I think for me, the gift is being able to talk like this and share it with other women, so they are sitting at home thinking, oh, my hip hurts, but I'm only, 32 or whatever, and, not connecting the dots that it's from the chemotherapy that they had, a decade ago, or, I feel like I'm cured from my cancer, but sexually I can't perform, and no one's talking about these things. I think it's very important for us to talk about those things.
Absolutely. And the whole use it or lose it thing. And so now as a single woman, after getting divorced, after all of this experience, it's like that's a real thing. Like when you're talking about, okay, like how do you work down there? And, it's like right now, luckily I'm okay, but I don't always have a partner,
Right.
So it's like I just live my life, and my Yellow Umbrella organization is my baby, and my little dog Harold is the love of my life, and I love like when you do your sex talk. I mean seriously, thank you for doing that. Like it is so important because it's such a huge it is a huge
what I
piece.
believe, you survived cancer, you should at least have an amazing orgasm.
Amen.
Right?
A couple at that.